Yep, another video of us just staring into the camera. The story of our first day in Italy.
We got up very early.
We were planning on getting up very early. We ended up leaving at 7:30. Got on the road. We figured, oh, Sunday there won't be that many people on the road, and there aren't any trucks. I mean, with like very few exceptions, because they're not allowed to drive in Germany. So, anyways, we were like, oh, let's drive places. So we drove, and then we made a couple stops. Oh yeah, and then so one of the stops was we saw signs that the border was coming up, and that you could buy the vignette at this one place. So, anyways, the vignettes you like put them on your windscreen. It just shows that you paid to like use their highways. Yeah, so we bought the vignette. It was in the gas station.
Yeah, I came to your shop and or the gas station and said I need a vignette, and he said, oh yeah, it's blah blah blah, and I gave him the money, and then he gave me something back, and I left the gas station. And I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do with all those vignettes? So I was just staring at them and leaving, and then the guy from the gas station came and was like, oh, stop, please stop. I gave you like all of my vignettes. You were just supposed to have one. And he's like, oh, please give it to me back. It's like worth 1,000 euros or something when you're having your hands. And I was like, oh yeah, you can figure that that's the first time I bought a vignette.
And here it was like you drove, and then they split traffic for trucks and cars. Everything was full. So we go to find parking, and then I'm at like the end where you have to get back on the highway. I don't want to get back on the highway, so I try to like turn into the last little road thing. And it's like there's a no entry sign, wrong way thing. But there was like a truck stopped, there were a bunch of trucks stopped there. So I was like, whatever. There's still enough space for me to park in front of the truck and not block traffic. I was like, this guy's probably not moving. And if he does, I'll be here so I can move my car. So I just parked in front of him. Finally got our vignette. Scratched the old stuff off. Well, I didn't scratch it, but like I used like a razor blade. So I used that, and I was being pretty careful. And I took a fresh razor blade, and then I was like just scraping along, like obviously being careful. I know this friggin' thing's sharp. And then I looked later on, I've got like not just one cut, but 2 or 3. I think I've got on my knuckle. I'm like, how did that happen? Then I had to clean that up and put a band-aid on it, which didn't last long either because it was like on the tip of my finger. 5 seconds later, it came off. So we got a vignette. I cut myself, and then we were on our merry way. And this was like, what was it, like 20 kilometers before the border?
Yeah.
To Switzerland. So we drove like the way that we took from like the Heidelberg region, basically down south to Freiburg, and then we got to the border. Our route was Germany, obviously, then through Switzerland, and then we entered into, like, we went through a bunch of tunnels. It's crazy because I don't think I realized how many tunnels it would be. At some points, it was just like tunnel, and then you would exit, and like 10 meters later, there'd be another tunnel. We were driving through tunnels so much. Lena's like, oh, there's this really big tunnel. So I'm like, oh, usually you drive through a tunnel in under 2 minutes. I have to go out to the bathroom at this point, and I'm like, oh, should I stop? No, it's too complicated to stop. So I'm like, I'm gonna just keep going.
And also because we were in the traffic.
Oh yeah, and we were sitting in traffic, and I'm like, okay, this is just making it worse. And then we finally get to the tunnel, and it's like, oh, that's Gotthard tunnel, 17 kilometers. I'm like, what the? This tunnel goes forever.
Well, update. We're still in the tunnel.
Yep.
Well, we're still in the tunnel.
Just a tunnel, just a straight tunnel. New update. The tunnel is turning.
10 hours later, we're still in the tunnel.
One eternity later.
We did it!
We made it! And then at some point I just kept seeing more light. I was like, oh, it's the end of the tunnel. And our plan was not to stop in Switzerland because We're like, oh, it's gonna be expensive. Right around, we had like 300 kilometers to go, and we had like 300 kilometers worth of fuel. So I'm like, we could probably make it to Italy, but I don't know how close we are. You know, if we don't want to stop in Switzerland, I don't know like how realistic that is, because it might be like we're literally driving to the campsite and 1 minute before the campsite.
But I always kept saying, so after the big tunnel, we should probably be in Italy. But I mixed it up because like this was the Italian part of Switzerland.
We got out of the tunnel. Wow, the tunnel. I think we've talked about the tunnel too much. We got out of the tunnel and I'm like, you know, we start seeing signs in Italian. And like, Lena, obviously we're in Italy. Look, the signs are in Italian. I'm pretty sure her reaction in her head was like, no, you idiot. It's the Italian part of Switzerland. And then we got there and we were like, we're definitely still in Switzerland. We got gas. Fill up in Switzerland, which was probably a bad idea. We probably should have just filled up when we were still in Germany. The scenery was just so nice. You have like mountains all around, and then like waterfalls every once in a while, and like random little ones. Like you just look on the side of the road and there's just like water pouring out of the mountain, it seems like. So that was really nice. And then more tunnels, and then a lot of highway driving. And all of a sudden we were off the highway, and then there were like these windy roads. We still haven't crossed the border into Italy. We didn't go through like anything that resembled a border, but we were at the lake already. Is this Switzerland? Is this Italy? We weren't sure. And so kept driving. And then a couple minutes before we got to the campsite that we were gonna stay at, we crossed the border. It was just like a couple guys standing there. Didn't really stop anybody. I guess they were just like, there's a lot of tourists going through there, so I guess they don't stop most people. Well, we didn't get stopped, so that's good. Yeah, the winding roads were crazy. Some parts were like really narrow, but like these huge buses come through, and you're just like, how are you doing this? Trying to be like all the way onto my side so that other people have, you know, enough space. And we weren't going very fast. But there's like a rock face on that side, and on the other side, obviously, there are a bunch of cars coming. You want to be careful either way. And there were a couple spots where we had to stop because obviously if it gets too narrow, then you have to stop one side of the traffic so the bus can get through. Coming through, it was fine. You get used to it, but still a little bit nerve-wracking at the beginning. And then we got into Maggiore.
I don't know if the city is actually called Maggiore. That like the city we stayed in is called Canopio.
So we were in Canopio and looked for, so Lena like marked a place that we wanted to stay there, but we couldn't reserve a spot because we were only staying for one night, and they don't take reservations for one night. They want you to stay like at least 3 nights or what?
No, one week.
A week.
A whole week.
So I guess you have to do it like on the fly if you want to go for one night. Anyway, so we went there, and then we went to another place, and they were like, we have a suite, and we were like, do we want to do this? It'd be nice. We'd be like close to the lake and close to the town and whatnot. And then we were thinking about it, and we were just like, for one night, like not really worth it. Like maybe just weren't feeling it. We're looking for another spot, so we found another place. So we called there, and the people were like super nice.
They were really nice.
We went there, super accommodating, and yeah, the one thing was just like basically a bedroom, living room, and bathroom. So we were like, oh, we'll just take that, whatever. And then I was like, oh, but you know, we could enlarge a little bit so that we at least have the view. But then I was like, oh, is it just upstairs or whatever? And Lydia was like, no, it's not upstairs. It's up there. And she like pointed up, and I was like, we have a bunch of stuff with us. We would have to carry it all the way up there. I mean, we would have the view, but we had to carry all this stuff up just for one night. And I just didn't want to do that. So I was like, maybe we should take the apartment. And we kind of decided that we just took the apartment.
Which was a good decision.
That was like a really nice day. Like, cause the people were really nice. The guy that worked there, pulls out a map, and he like told us like, oh, there's the best pizza place is like right around the corner. First we went to the restaurant.
Oh, I went to the pool first.
Oh yeah.
First things first.
Then I went to the pool just to relax. Looked really nice. I was kind of jealous. Yeah, we got ready, and then we went to the restaurant, and it was pretty nice. You like walk in, there's seating like semi outside of the restaurant, but it's still like under a roof. And then you have the formal restaurant literally in the building, and both were really nice. And then we went there, tried to speak broken Italian. I tried to learn some more phrases, but it's difficult, like, because I kept trying to practice it, and then I would forget like the same word over and over. So I tried that. We each had pizza and beer. It was really good. I still ate too much. Yeah, and then once we were done there, we were thinking about eating dessert, but we didn't.
No, because we were too full.
Went into town. There was like this really nice concert. It was just like a classical concert, and like we just stood there for like 20 minutes, half hour. Nice atmosphere with the music. So we wanted to walk along the water a little bit. And there were like a bunch of restaurants there. And we went down there and it sat down at one spot, had some gelato. Or Lena had some gelato.
Oh, it was really important. It was a pistachio gelato. And it really tasted like you were eating pistachios. So it felt like really fresh.
I had some. Pretty good. Pretty friggin' good. It's good ice cream. And tasted really fresh. So yeah, and we walked around for a little bit longer. We just wanted to see like the harbor. So we walked around there a little bit. Saw the lake by night, which was really nice. Yeah, so we walked around there. And then we just hung out pretty much. And then we walked back and went to bed. And that was the end of that day.
We did it!
We made it!